I lost over 150 pounds in 1 year. And the internet stopped believing that it was real. But what they failed to remember is that I posted on Instagram every single day. And today we're gonna go over some of the crazier things that happened over this year and 2.5 month period of how I went from being obese to a bodybuilding champion. Oh, that's crazy, still don't believe it. So this story actually begins a few days before I started posting, because at this strongman comp here, I weighed in at 372 pounds. And that's where the initial 372 comes from. Yeah, I was pretty chunky here. And then on November 5th, I recorded that incredibly viral clip with my friend Martina, where I announced that. And I'm gonna pick and attend next year a bodybuilding show. Oh, crazy. That was technically day 0. And then day 1, went to Walmart, did my first set of groceries, and I weighed myself in. The initial weight here, which was a few days after the strongman competition, I weighed in at 354 pounds.
Okay, let's go.
And then I just went on, I lost a few pounds until day 15, which is when I came up with the idea to tag different influencers, which is when I started saying,
day 15 of losing 100 pounds in a year, and holy I just realized something. I can see my pee-pee again when I look down. How you doing, little guy?
That was a big non-scale victory, by the way.
It's been a while. And now I'm gonna be tagging Will Tennyson every single day until he follows me.
I did that. But it actually didn't take too long, because it was on day 18 actually that after tagging him and getting hundreds of tags that this happened.
Day 18 of losing 100 pounds in a year, and got Will Tennyson to follow us on Instagram. Oh God, it's everywhere.
So Will Tennyson followed us right then and there, and I honestly couldn't believe it. And that's when he actually sent me that text right away that was, after you lose 100 pounds, send me a DM and we'll film a YouTube video, which obviously we all know how that went. And then moving on to day 21, this was the day where the first time I actually got emotional.
Day 21 of losing 100 pounds in a year, and we are at, drum roll, 20.3 pounds lost.
So in 21 days, I lost 20 pounds. And the reason why I got emotional, and I go on to explain this, so I'm not gonna show you the whole video. If you wanna go see it, it's there. But it's because I realized right then and there that everything was getting real. It was my first moment where I figured out how much I was gonna have to push to achieve what I wanted to. And going on to day 23 is when we chose which influencer I was gonna chase next.
Day 23 of losing 100 pounds in a year until Jesse James West follows us.
So Jesse James was going to be the next person I was going to be tagging every day, and that one took a while. But in that time frame, on day 30, a massive company said they wanted to support me.
Day 30 of losing 100 pounds in a year. Today's the big day. Oh, we just got sponsored by Ray Energy, baby. Let's go.
Oh boy. So long story short, Rain came on board, and this turns out it wasn't actually a sponsorship, but they were just gonna help support me during the whole thing. And they've sent me, oh God, it must be close to hundreds and hundreds of cans of Rain that I have consumed over the course of this weight loss. And then we're gonna move on to day 35, which was the third of the scale milestones, because
Day 35 of losing 100 pounds in a year, and we just did it. We just hit 30 pounds lost.
So that was 30 pounds in 35 days, which is absolutely bonkers. And then we're gonna move over here to day 42, because that's actually when I started feeling a little bit weaker.
So the 225 went about as good as it should. Bumping up to 300 felt great. 405 felt perfectly fine. And this is when it got really weird, because that felt much heavier than it should have. And 585 never stood a chance.
So, I mean, it looks kind of crazy to say that I was getting weaker when I just like hit 500 pounds, but 585 used to be very easy reps for me, considering how I was chasing a 700 pound deadlift and I had just hit 680 about like a month and a half ago, right? So it was a pretty big dip in strength, but it wasn't too long until I actually experienced my first real non-scale victory. And this one was huge for anybody that's ever been obese. You'll definitely relate to this one.
And something crazy just happened.
Oh God, easily decades. And then the next day, on day 47,
because we just hit 40 pounds.
that was the most anticlimactic popper ever. And then day 48 is a very important staple in this whole weight loss journey because that's when I decided.
I announced which bodybuilding show I'm going to be competing in next year. Every year in Toronto, there's a show called the Summer Shredding, hosted by ALPHALETE. And they have what's called a transformation class. This transformation class celebrates people that have done amazing things with their bodies, and I feel like I would fit very well in that. The winner of the Toronto show gets to go compete in Texas.
So I decided to, that day on, so on day 48 is when I decided that I was going to do summer shredding, and I also say this like iconic line at the end, ALPHALETE, I'm coming for you. And then on day 50, something really crazy happened.
Oh, we got Jesse James wants to give us a follow.
The next one went super quick, but on day 51,
we are going after the one and only Joey SWOLY.
well, that didn't take very long because on day 52.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Sorry about that. I just had to wash away my gym sins because the god of gym ethics himself, Joey SWOLY, actually followed us and left us a comment saying that I got you.
And he actually unfollowed me, which made me sad. I don't know why that happened. But then day 53 came the next person, which was going to be the hardest one to get, and I didn't know that yet.
So far, we've got Will Tennyson, Jesse James West, and Joey SWOLY. And there's one more person that I think would be absolutely amazing to add to our Avengers roster of fitness legends. I love his opinions on food, on show prep, on supplements. It is the one and only Coach Greg Doucette.
So Coach Greg was the next on the hit list, and I did not know how hard that was going to be for a very long time. And we're actually going to move on all the way to day 70 because that's when probably the most important of my scale victories ended up happening. And this was in Mexico, literally the day after we survived a Cat 4 level hurricane.
We did it. I don't really have words for today. It's a lot. This feels like a bigger milestone than 30 or 40 or 50 ever did by so much. I don't remember when the last time it was that there was a 2 on the scale. To give you an idea, I hit my first 300 at the end of high school. I'm never going back over 300 ever again. Oh. All right, Greg, come on. I need you here. Do me a solid, please. Give me a follow. This is fucking crazy.
299 was a big one, obviously, coming out of the threes. Anytime you cross over like a 100-pound line, it's just such an insane feeling. So now we're actually gonna move over to day 84 because this was an incredible non-scale victory, actually. And my reaction is just hilarious.
I'm still waiting for Greg Doucette to give us a follow. I just made a crazy discovery. When I breathe out, I can start seeing my abs. Holy shit.
I think that face says it all. I think for anybody who's ever been obese, the second you start seeing your abs again, it's just the craziest of craziest feelings. And that's when I actually started posting my before and afters because the change was getting very drastic. So then moving on to day 91, I ended up meeting someone in person and I could not believe it when they had this reaction.
I lost 60 pounds in the last 89 days. And I've been tagging you every day for the last 35 days, trying to get you to follow me on Instagram.
So he literally just gave me his phone, told me to give myself a follow. But the funniest thing here is that, like, if I showed you the entire conversation, it's hilarious because I was so starstruck that I was talking to Coach Greg that he was asking me these questions and I wasn't answering the right thing whatsoever. It was completely crisscrossed. So then on day 92, something very important happened in the whole development of the story, and it was one of those pictures that I took that later went pretty viral because of the change that happened.
I was in a hotel yesterday and I saw none other than the owner and founder of ALPHALETE and the Summer Shredding bodybuilding competition, the one I'm going to be doing later this year. I don't know what came over me, but I walked up to him and I just said, Christian, next year, I'm coming to steal your money at the transformation class of the Summer Shredding. And then he and his wife just started laughing and they loved it. Obviously then I thanked him for giving me the motivation and a goal to be able to achieve during this weight loss. So today is day 92 and we are at 66.8 pounds down. We are so close to that 70 mark. All I can say, Christian, you will never see anybody on your stage with bigger calves than me.
And then on day 100, I hit a pretty big scale milestone.
It took us 100 days to hit 70 pounds.
I think it was around this point that I started seeing the fact that I was really going to turn into a brick shit house. I mean, the legs were already fully cut, and the back was starting to show. The shoulder caps were there, so it was obviously, I knew something big was going to come with my body, and it was pretty exciting. And then exactly the 4-month mark, so 122 days, we hit another big scale milestone, which was?
It took me 10 years to f up my life and my relationships. But it only took me 4 months, exactly 122 days to get it back on track, because today we just hit it. 80 pounds down. Losing weight was not the hard part. A little bit of discipline, eating the right foods, and going to the gym 3 times a day was fine. That did it. The hard part has been dealing with all the mental self-hate that I've put on myself, all the pressures for the last 10 years. But thanks to every single one of you, it's been so much easier. Like, it's still hard to believe that I put out a video talking about how I stopped having sex for 8 years because I hated myself so much. But after seeing the outpour of people that felt the exact same way, everything felt more normal. And I even said to myself from the start, if I can encourage a single person to start something like this, then this was a massive success.
And then that's when I kind of realized that things were moving a little bit too fast. So 4 months to 80 pounds, which means I had a whole year to hit 100 pounds. And obviously that was going to be too easy. So I started to sort of push myself a little too far. And I said I was going to lose 100 pounds in 6 months to about almost exactly a whole month later. So I did 154 when I hit 90 pounds.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds down. 15 pounds more to go.
It is day 154 of losing 100 pounds in 6 months. And we are now at 90 pounds down. That was an insane emotional day. And it wasn't too long after that actually that I went to Toronto where I shot with Will Tennyson, and this was his reaction to my daily routine. It is day 160 of losing 100 pounds in 6 months. We were here with Will. How was your day?
Very difficult. Like, harder than I expected it to be.
Yeah?
Especially the water.
That makes me so proud.
Yeah.
So we ended up drinking 12 liters, and that's the first time when I sort of went viral for something stupid that I was doing. But from then, we're going to fast forward to day 178 because this was arguably the biggest scale victory. It is day 178 of losing 100 pounds in a year. And we just hit 100 pounds. My first, I would say, big sponsorship announcement, and this came from that Will Tennyson video.
I've always been a huge believer in peptides, and today I finally get to announce who is the new sponsor of our journey. I am officially a Transcend athlete.
So that's when Transcend came into the picture, and this was a big one because I was going to do what I coined with my friend Tyler, a 30-day Transcend formation. Now, 2 days in, I had the brilliant idea of, I'm gonna try to get
Phil Heath gives us a follow.
Phil Heath, 7 times Mr. Olympia. By some miracle, it only took about 4 days.
I swear this is not April Fool's. Today is day 5 of my Transcend formation. Phil Heath just gave us a follow.
Funny story behind that is that after this happened, Phil Heath actually took off the ability to tag him on Instagram. So I'm so sorry about that, Phil. My bad. Now, in the middle of the Transcend formation, something happened, and this was arguably the biggest change to my life as a whole. And it's when I met someone that came into my life.
Day 15 of the Transcend formation, and today I want to talk to you about something very important that happens when you lose weight. Everything starts getting put into perspective, and you can start putting a little bit more emphasis on your relationships. I had made a video about how I didn't have any relationships for 8 years prior to this, and I actually met someone. Now, funny enough, I actually met Taylor through making these daily videos. She found my content, and next thing you know, well, now we're here. So for everybody that's struggling with their self-worth, just know that when you start to prioritize yourself, other people start to see it too.
I didn't realize how important that was back then, but now we are a year and a bit later, and we are planning on moving together in the next 2 months. So for all you haters that keep asking me when I'm moving on to my parents, you finally have an answer. The transformation obviously went crazy. The peptides went insane. That's when I started using the loose skin cream, the GHKCU. I mean, just look at these two pictures here. For 30 days of difference, that is absolutely drastic. But coincidentally, around this time too is when my transformation started being a little bit less around me and around everybody else that was being a part of it, including Josh. And Josh had successfully managed to lose 40 pounds in 48 days, which was just a day over what I did. And he went on and
Josh is down over 70 pounds in 91 days. See, when I met Josh, all I saw was somebody who was really committed to the gym, but he was just missing one of the pillars, and that's the case for most people trying to lose weight. After leaving comments for months on end, I think this is the one that got his attention when I wrote that I would be able to reduce 60 pounds off his body in less than 3 months. And look at these pictures, I think I was right. That's what I saw in.
So we managed to rip off an immense amount of fat off him so fast, and it was absolutely insane. And that's when the internet started sort of catching wind of it, and when people stopped believing in it. Like when I met Hani Rambod.
So in this picture here, I weighed 372 pounds.
That ain't you now, brother.
Now I weigh 224 as of this morning. So my question is, how long do you think that it took me to hit this weight? You each get to ask me one question to try to figure this out.
How old were you between the photos? All right, how old are you now?
Right now I'm 31.
How much cardio were you doing a day?
Started at 20 twice per day, 130 BPM. I went up all the way to 1 hour by the time I filmed with Will Tennyson. And now I'm back down to only 20 minutes twice a day because I'm doing the summer shredding shows in 28 days.
3 years. I say you did it in 18 months.
18 months. Okay, so the answer is 11 months.
Wow, good job.
Yes.
How much weight was that?
It was 149 pounds.
So it was at this point where the internet really started to sort of lose it, because even when somebody like Derek Lunsford or Hani Rambod, one of the most successful, best coaches in the world, gets it wrong by so much, people were starting to question if it was real. It was around this time, of course, that I also got to shoot with Thor, who made me look like an absolute toddler, like you can see in this picture. And in the middle of the 11th month is when I hit.
It is day 357, which means that there are 8 days left to the year. This is what I weighed today, which means we just hit 150 pounds down.
Which obviously led us to the peak week, and also coincidentally when I shot with Will Tennyson, the part 2 video. As you can tell here, I'm actually pretty peeled. I don't think anybody actually expected it to pull through, but with Taylor by my side, I ended up taking the summer shredding transformation overall, which was absolutely crazy. So I won summer shredding, and then, like I said, everything started leaving this just me content, and it was more about other people. This was actually also around, it took 141 days for Josh to lose his 100 pounds. That is crazy. But at this point, obviously now, it was a change between going from summer shredding 1, which was the qualifier in Toronto, to the second one. And it was already starting to be incredibly drastic, and it was because of how well my body was reacting. And of course, I mean, with the peptides and everything else, I was reacting incredibly well, to the point where this is what I looked like 30 days out of the 30 days out of the finals, which is obviously drastically better than a month before on the Toronto show. And it's also around this time that I actually started sort of getting more viral content, to the point, because nobody believed it anymore. Nobody believed that the transformation was real, even though I was posting about it every single day. But the comment section was either accusing me of using Olympia-sized doses of tren, or of just outright lying. It was posted on there every single day. I don't know what more you want from me. This is when things started getting crazy. My body was changing, not by the day, but by the hour on the few last days. And for example, this is what my body looked like the day before going on stage. So I was at this point fully peeled. If I didn't have loose skin, I would have looked like an actual bodybuilder, and that to me was very exciting, because that was my whole plan the first time. Next day, stepped on stage, and well, this happened. I absolutely ugly cried after taking that video, which is why I had to wipe it away. And it's like all of this manifestation like came to life. If that's not the definition of manifesting, I don't know what is. And then my most viral clip came the next day, which was from day 1, or a little bit before that, because I shot this clip in Colombia a while ago, to the end of the journey. So 500,000 likes on this post. It was just the sound of rain. There was no music or anything. It was just a powerful enough image that obviously resonated with a lot of people. And a few days afterwards, I had gone to Baltimore to shoot with Jesse James West, when at the same time that I was with him, this happened.
Holy shit, I just hit 100K on Instagram.
Wait, what'd you say?
I hit 100K on Instagram.
No, congrats!
Let's go!
That's awesome!
Thank you.
Nice, dude.
Let's do that.
So I hit 100K on Instagram, and that's when everything really started changing. That's when mainstream media started picking up about it. That's when and it was actually at that same time that everything got official, everything got finalized, and I officially got sponsored by ALPHALETE. Use code Goliath. You know, obviously I could go on forever talking about everything that happened, because a lot happened in a year that I wouldn't be able to cover in a simple YouTube video. But I think a good place to end this video would be one of 2 parts. Either this.
This is Josh.
Nice to meet you, Josh.
I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you my ring size now or in 2 years?
I love it.
Yeah, so this is a bold claim, but in 2026. So he's my client now in 2026. He's gonna be stepping on stage at Summer Shredding.
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. You can give it to me now. I'll keep it. All right. Yeah.
Or the fact that not too long ago, Men's Health magazine actually decided to cover me and put me right next to Tom Holland on their page, which is absolutely incredible. They wrote this very in-depth article of everything that happened. And I feel like that was the most legitimizing thing of this entire transformation, having like an actual mainstream media outlet covering the story. But for those that are trying to lose weight, I feel like there's a few points that I have to make here. And one is that what I was doing was obviously incredibly intense. It was not normal. It was not to be copied. It was just me trying to see how far I could push myself in the human body to achieve something that would be absolutely remarkable, which I think we succeeded in that aspect. But a lot of what I did was by trial and error, and some things that I did weren't necessarily healthy. And so for somebody that's trying to achieve a better life for themselves, don't speed run your fat loss journey. You should learn to actually enjoy the process, and in that way it'll be a lot more sustainable, and you'll have less of a chance of gaining it all back afterwards. Now, of course, I had a bit of a different plans, and to be very honest with you guys, my plan from the very beginning was, how far can I push this? Because I've been in love with the sport of bodybuilding since I saw Phil Heath on a cover of Flex magazine when I was young. And I always wanted to see what it would like to maybe even try for a pro card. So I did things that would lead me to perhaps get me there one day, which is not something that which are things I would just not recommend for others to do. And this is all stuff I've covered in many videos in the past. It's not like I was inherently hiding it for fucking monetary gain. But at the end of the day, when it comes to fat loss, I think it's important to really notice that whatever work, whatever way, whatever method you enjoy doing is what's going to be right for you. The gym isn't for everybody. Maybe you'll like to do Pilates better, or just intensive yoga. And if that gets you to lose the weight, then that's fantastic. But I'm going to be completely revamping my coaching business very soon. It's going to be a lot more affordable to everybody, and I cannot wait to present this all to you guys very soon. But it's interesting because I'm finally in a place where I think I know where I want to go with my content, which is going to be a lot more, obviously, React content, stuff like this. Maybe not to my transformation, but to others. But also, I'm going to try to showcase other people's crazy routines, because obviously mine was a little bit extreme, but also different ways people have found success in their own fat loss journeys. So with that, if you haven't checked out the Million Pound Club yet, I highly suggest that you do. We've lost over pretty close to 6,000 pounds, I feel like now, and that number is only going to keep going up. But as always, let's change the world together.